Hi, everyone, and welcome to a mini edition of the Islanders Point Blank podcast. I'm Kevin Schultz. Today, my guest is Mike Fornabaio, who's the Sound Tigers beat writer for the CT Post and the foremost authority on everything Sound Tigers. Mike, thanks for taking the time today. How's it going?
Doing pretty well, thanks. How about you?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Had a good New Year. How about you?
Yeah, very nice, very quiet. Very good.
Yeah, it's good. I was tired after Christmas and everything. So on to the Sound Tigers. First question, a little bit broad. They've been up and down. They had big winning streak to start the year, hit a bit of a tough patch, and now they seem to be going again. Been kind of streaky. What have you seen from the team, and why do you think it's gone the way it has?
A little bit. I think some of it is just being a young team. A lot of young kids with some new faces, and kind of finding that consistency level, that night in, night out, doing the same thing and getting getting that result every time. Just like consistency of where to be, where to position yourself. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it takes a little while to get that down every night. And I think they've kind of gotten back to that a little more in the last month or so. And part of it also is just injury. I mean, they've had so many guys and so many key players, who've missed time from, right from the start with Calvin Dahan, and then Kirill Kabanov in the first 4 games were missing. I mean, Dahan, it's just that was such a big part of that defense. And, they obviously they had some depth there, but still he's a guy that was going to be a key for it. And then the last, it's almost a month now without Travis Hamonic. They've managed to kind of get through that well enough, but still he's a guy that's obviously a key piece. David Olsen was missing some time. And now Brock Nelson's going to be out. It'll probably end up being about a month with a broken jaw. So they started off with depth, but they still had some holes to fill at different times. And sometimes it's worked a little better than others, but they've managed to come through it in decent enough shape.
Yeah, and just to talk about those injuries for a sec, they've really, it's not just that it's been a lot of injuries; it's been a lot of important guys too. And
yeah.
I guess for Islander fans, the big name is Travis Hamonic there, and can you give us maybe an update on what's going on with him?
They haven't said a few words, but you look at an upper body injury where they're talking about protocols and and laying off of activity, and you tend to lean that way, and nobody's really said no on that. But they're just kind of waiting and seeing. It sounds like they still say day to day and see where it goes from there, but hasn't really seemed to be a great deal of progress at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah. So they've been calling it upper body injury. Is it a concussion or is it just kind of nebulous?
Well, they haven't said, and nobody's really confirmed that. I'm just kind of guessing along with that. I mean, you look at circumstantially, that's what it sounds like, and nobody's denied that. So, but that's just a guess on my part.
Okay. And then one of the other guys, Kirill Kabanov, kind of an unfortunate injury. I guess he got stepped on by a skate. What's his timetable?
They haven't put an exact number on it, but he has started skating again. He's been skating before the team. Actually, he's been skating with Nelson for the last couple of days. It's going to be a matter then of getting the strength back in the wrist and getting himself back to a point where he's ready to jump back into game conditions. And I heard secondhand a little while ago, maybe end of January, early February. And I mean, if he's starting to skate now, hopefully he can build up that strength, and maybe that might not be an unrealistic timetable.
Yeah, well, definitely if he's back skating, that's definitely a good sign. So to change pace a little bit, obviously the no good, very bad, super annoying lockout that's going on right now. So
it's all for sure.
Yeah. So we might maybe, I'm not going to get my hopes up, but we might be nearing an end to it. Just hypothetically, if the lockout ended, the Islanders have 11 forwards under contract, 12 if we include Niederreiter, and they have 5 defenders. So, theoretically, they're going to be taking a couple guys. If they don't sign anybody, they'll be taking a couple guys from Bridgeport. In your opinion, who do you think might be the ones to get that call? Who's looked really good this year?
That's a good question. There's a lot of possibilities, a lot of up and downs. I mean, you look up front. I mean, like we've talked about Niederreiter. I mean, how at the beginning of the year was that big question mark of do you keep him here for the long haul and just kind of let him get that confidence back up? I mean, he really came right out of the gate with that confidence. I mean, he's playing like a guy who's going to be a very productive player, and he's playing well on the power play, getting himself in front of the net. He's doing some good things. I mean, obviously he's young and he's got things to learn. He's come along very well. Zeke has done some good things as well. We have seen quite a bit of. Excuse me. On defense, some of the kids are still coming along. They're young and they're learning, and they've had their moments, but they're doing all right. And, even a guy like John Landry, I mean, who kind of came out of nowhere last year and built himself into a leader on this team. He's kind of that name that floats around on the internet. The big guy, the unknown guy. What can he do? I mean, he's done some nice things as well. He's worked very well on the power play with these guys, and he's made himself into a very key player for this team.
Yeah, and in terms of Nino, I guess what's his mindset? What's his attitude like? You said he came right out of the gate. Is he just straight up positive attitude this year, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Even from training camp, I mean, I talked to him, in down on the island. I was kind of wondering out myself what to expect out of him. I mean, he really impressed me as a guy who had put the ups and downs and the bad luck and the injuries of last year, had just put it behind him and was ready to come out and get the job done this year. And really from day one, he's been productive, and seems like he's had that good attitude, and he's done a really good job.
Yeah, it just seems like a complete 180 from last year with him. And
yeah, I mean, it's funny, you look, from the start last year, it was kind of the opposite, where he had the bad luck with the injuries and just not kind of being able to find that role, and more injuries, and coming down and going back up, and never really quite getting on track, and it really just was the exact opposite this year.
Yeah, and so one of the other guys that's been doing well, unfortunately, is injured right now, but Brock Nelson. Can you tell us a little bit about how he's how he was playing when he was not injured?
He was doing a good job as well. I mean, he's another guy that that you looked at last year, and when he first arrived, you wondered. It was there. You could see the big frame, and just for those first couple of games, he was very tentative and really learning his way. And and then all of a sudden, they're swept out of the playoffs, and that's the only that's really the only glimpse you got of him. So you wonder coming back, how is he going to be? I mean, he's another one from day one who really just had that physical confidence that was missing last year. He filled out a little bit. He'd gotten stronger, and he had that familiarity with the program, where he was able to just step in and really was a stronger player who had been productive, who had worked well at times with Niederreiter, had done some good things. They've kind of shifted the lineup a few times since then, but obviously with Nelson being out, but they had worked well together. They seemed to get along really well, and they had a pretty good relationship going. And Nelson was a guy who would fit into a lot of different roles in this team, and obviously missed right now.
And one of the other guys, I guess, kind of an unfortunate situation with injury, is Calvin DeHaan, and I believe he's out for the season. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the word. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, have you seen him around at all? Is he skating or anything, or what?
He has been around, not skating as far as I know, but I know he's been around. I've seen him mostly after games, off and on. I haven't really had a chance to sit down with him all or anything, really get a good conversation with him, but he has been around. I mean, it's a really tough break. I mean, he's worked hard, and he had a very good year last year that was kind of interrupted twice by different shoulders, and to see him come back, and that early in the season on such an innocent little play with a minute to go in the game, and that happens, it's a tough break.
Yeah, I remember watching it. It was just kind of a bizarre play that happened on, and just
very innocent, just kind of clearing the crease, and all of a sudden he skates off, and it's just like, oh, not again.
Yeah.
There it was.
And so now with all these injuries, and maybe the lockout ends, Bridgeport could be losing a lot of players. So how does a team in the AHL, for those fans, we're more we know more about the NHL. How does an AHL team cope with that? What do they do to find players?
It's generally a lot of combing the East Coast League. Like I call them the East Coast League, even though it hasn't been the East Coast League for years. But, the ECHL. A lot of it is is the relationship that some of these coaches may have with coaches down there, who trusted names that they'll go to and, say, who's playing well, who can fill a role for me up here. Maybe players that they've known in the past. I looked at, the past couple of years in Bridgeport, Brent Thompson had been in the ECHL for a couple of years, and so really knew that league well, and actually knew a lot of those guys really well. Guys that he was able to sign last year, like Steve Alexi, Kel Morat, even John Landry. He hadn't seen himself, but it was that kind of trusted relationship with another coach. He said, "Yeah, this kid can play for you," and brought him up, and that really filled a lot of holes for Bridgeport last year, and was able to keep them rolling. Even this year with Scott Pellerin, had Jordan Hill for the last couple of years when Pellerin was an assistant in Manchester and Hill was playing for him. Knew him well, had a good trusting relationship with him, and when they needed a guy on defense when Don went down, he had a guy in mind, so that was able to work out. It's a lot of using your scouts, a lot of using your organization, and a lot of using whatever contacts you have. Sometimes the teams, won't release a guy to you. Sometimes even a guy doesn't want to go up because he might be making more money down there than he could make in the minimum in the AHL. It's funny that way sometimes, but sometimes it's a big jigsaw puzzle and just finding the right player at the right time for the right role.
Yeah, so I guess it sounds like it's a lot of networking, like, who do you know, what coach do you know, who needs a break, I guess that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's so different. An NHL team's got 10, 15 guys signed in the AHL. When they need a guy, they call him up, and it's with very few exceptions in the AHL, it's not nearly the same thing. A team like Hershey, I think, is one that pops to mind where they'll usually have a few guys stashed away in the ECHL under contract, but for a lot of teams, it's just finding that pro tryout guy. Okay.
And so just want to shift gears a little bit to the goalies. I know on the island, we'll see what happens, but Evgeny Nabokov is a free agent at the end of this year, and there's always the question marks with Rick DiPietro. So Kevin Poole and Anders Nilsson are two guys Islander fans are really looking towards. How have they been this year, and what are the differences you've seen from them from last year to this year?
Both have their moments. It's funny, they're both, I think, really good prospects. I talk to people, and I think that both have their champions, and I think both have the potential to play at the next level. Poland's a little flashier sometimes. Nelson's a little more, a little more conventional on offense. That's probably not the word either, but a little less flashy, just kind of consistent. And it's interesting. They've kind of been up and down at different times. Poland had a stretch where he struggled a little bit and then didn't play for a few games, and kind of, Scott Pellerin mentioned, just kind of getting him back on track. He came back with a few fantastic efforts. The shutout in Hartford, came in relief on New Year's Eve and made 17 saves in third period and overtime. Really played well, and Nelson's had equal success. He's had shutouts. He's had some very good games as well. Had a real good game against Manchester last week. I think they're both guys. It might just be timing. It might just be who's hot at the right time. Sometimes it's just that little bit of luck. Who's got that moment, and who seizes the moment, and we'll see where it goes from there, depending on who's needed when. Even last year, when Nelson was hurt down the stretch, it was a situation where, Poland obviously was going to be playing, and would he seize the moment, or would it be up and down? He really seized the moment and carried that team right into the playoffs. So it's one of those things where I think they're both capable of doing that, and we'll see if they actually, see how it comes through.
Yeah, it's kind of a good problem to have with two goalies who can play pretty well. And have they had a tough go of it at all with the injuries to Hamonic and DeHaan, not having maybe as good players in front of them? Has that affected them at all?
I think you can kind of point to it's almost a team difference thing at that point. There were moments where coverage just wasn't there, where they were facing good shots and facing some maybe tougher shots, maybe even more shots than they had to. And I think when things were at their worst, I don't think you could really pin it on the goaltending. Not saying they were spotless, but don't think it was a goaltending issue.
And so just looking ahead tonight, the Sound Tigers are in Springfield for the Falcons. Mike, just for maybe a couple of folks out there watching the game, what do we expect from Springfield?
Springfield's in a lot of ways they're a little like Bridgeport. They've got guys who really would be in the NHL. I mean, they got guys guys like Ryan Johansson and Cam Atkinson, who are very talented players who could be at that next level, who are right now locked out and playing down here. So it should be interesting. That first game at the end of October was a good one. Went to a shootout and was a lot of fun. I mean, they've definitely got some talent. They even if you saw any of those Hartford Bridgeport games last year, Jonathan Marchessault, who was on an AHL deal with the Whale last year. Now with Springfield signed an NHL deal with Columbus last year, and he's a very good player and a lot of fun to watch as well.
All right, well, that's about all the time we have. Thanks for joining us, and Mike, thanks for taking the time today. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right, have a good one, Mike.